Hi, everybody. Welcome to 6 Months Later, the podcast 180 Days in the Making, where we talk to interesting people about their lives and their hopes for the future. And then we check in with them 6 months later to see how everything turned out. It's kind of like a time machine, but you travel in time in real time. It's not very helpful. I am Matthew Dorn. I am your host, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host.
Tara Newton Wordsworth, how are you today, Matt?
I am okay, been hanging out, working from home again. It's exciting. Last week I worked from home one day and then they sent everybody home because we were all in lockdown. So now I'm working from home again.
How are you finding working from home?
It's all right. You can nap a lot more in the afternoon. No, it's fine. I'm not nearly as productive as I was at work, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, that sounds real tough. I've not really had much going on this week. Although, weirdly, I've had 3 people recently contact me from the past.
Okay.
Was a guy
Were they ghosts? Were they trying to show you the error of your ways?
Yeah, that sounds really dodgy. No, I one of them was a guy who I co-wrote this screenplay with, I guess it was, I don't know, like literally like 9 years ago now, and just had completely forgotten about it. He got in touch and said he's actually developing it into a film. He's got people like making it with him. He's rewritten the script, and would I be willing to take 20% instead of 50%? And I was like, you know what the hell? Like, essentially, I'd rather have 20% of something than 50% of nothing. So, yeah, I was happy.
Which was also your wedding vows.
And then, so I was happy to do that. That was exciting. I do hope that obviously does get, I mean, it takes a long time to develop something. So hopefully that does get made. And then another guy, a composer, contacted me recently that...
Wait, what was the movie about? Or do you want to get into that?
Do you know what? It was like a sort of fantasy, I guess that's what, yeah, like kind of like a fantasy film, but he's
with unicorns and things.
Yeah, with
Wizards?
Sort of wizardy type character. It was definitely, yeah, like kind of like they live in a secret world called the Secret Palace, but then it crosses over into our world and stuff because they have to get. It's.
I was not expecting you to say.
I can't like even be bothered to try and touch on it right now.
That's fine. All right. Well, look for the Wizard Palace coming to theaters in 2022.
I mean, it's yeah, it was fun, but like when he was like, he asked me if I wanted to work on it with him and then like obviously maintain the 50-50, and I just cannot be bothered. So I was like, you know what, you just crack on without me. So yeah, I'll be thrilled if he does it. And then a composer got in touch with me who I'd worked with years ago, asking me if I'd be interested to compose like for this, I don't know, a musical he's writing or something, but for like a comedy female role, and that was exciting. And then today, a guy got in touch with me who I'd recorded this song with literally 8 or 9 years ago, and said that he'd just found it again, and he'd got a record deal, 8 years ago from putting out a song with The Cure, and he wants to develop that song with me, or my song. It was just a really random, it's just been one of those things where it's like things from the past that never eventuated to anything have suddenly kind of come back, and they still might not eventuate to anything, but it was kind of exciting because it was like, oh, maybe this, I don't know, because you're always chipping away at stuff, and a lot of the time it doesn't go anywhere, so it'd be nice if it does go somewhere.
Yeah, well, maybe this will go somewhere, right? Or are you quitting? Is this how you're telling me you're quitting the podcast? I got a lot of stuff going on. Hollywood's calling, baby.
This would be a really weird way of telling you that.
Please, but if you promise me that if you do quit the podcast, that you will tell me like this.
I think if I was going to tell you, I'd have to tell you like 6 months in advance, because we've got like such a massive, I don't know, backlog of podcasts we have to record the other half to. So yeah, I'm going to have to really forward think if I want to ever quit this one day.
You could just walk away and just be like, fuck you, do those other half of those interviews yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways,
any exciting things happen to you this week?
Well,
Oh, we should.
my
Sorry,
country
I was just about
was
to say we should really talk about what's happened in America. But oh,
yeah.
anything exciting happened to you this week?
Well, exciting is not quite the word I would use. Yeah, Wednesday, I had a really stressful day at work, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go downstairs and watch a little bit of TV. No, I was actually in the middle of doing something else, and then when I was in the middle of a call, and then when I got off the phone, I was like, oh, there's all these alerts that people are storming the Capitol, and
That was insane.
it was fucking hard. It was like this shit. So yeah.
And did you see the thing today that the FBI have released saying that they're expecting some massive uprising?
Yep, I saw that. So that's exciting. Or not exciting. Again, exciting is not the word for any of this.
That would be terrifying.
Horrifying and terrifying and disgusting and vile. And I don't know. Yeah, on behalf of white people, I'm sorry. I'm trying. Some other people are not pulling their weight. And if you're a white person out there thinking about storming any public building, don't. Maybe don't.
Probably don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certainly think about protesting in favor of things like racial justice or women's rights or reproductive rights or LGBTQA rights. Any of that stuff is great. But the first time you pick up a gun and start running into a building, maybe rethink your priorities.
Oh my God, man.
Anyways,
Crazy.
so yeah, so that was fucking nuts and a horrible thing to see from my own country. But they kicked Trump off of Twitter, which I think is
The best.
great.
Yeah. Oh my God. It must be crazy for him waking up now and like, because he, obviously he's losing the presidency, but that was like he still had millions of people that he could just connect to instantly.
Yeah.
And they're gone.
And now so, I mean, I guess he'll probably get a podcast. That'll be his
big thing.
Now we got to compete with that.
Right.
I think 6 months will be number 2 in the Apple podcast charts, right behind Donald Trump's podcast.
Is that your prediction for 6 months' time?
Yeah. No, but that was really terrible and it sucked. And I'm glad to be able to talk about it now because I'm wondering if like in 6 months it'll be like, oh, do you even remember when those assholes stormed the Capitol? Or if it'll be like, oh yeah, remember that thing that completely changed everything or whatever. So it's hard to tell these days because it does seem like there's so much stuff that we were like, this is going to change everything forever. And then we completely forgot about it.
That's true.
So, anyways, what are your predictions for 6 months, Tara?
I am hoping we will be stepping into a brighter future. I certainly think Biden will be a much better president. Obviously, I mean, it wouldn't take much to be be better. But
even if he immediately died, he'd be a better president.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it'll be a brighter future for America and also the world in general.
Yes. For me, in 6 months. So earlier this week, I was getting something out of the silverware drawer in our house, and I guess my wife had cleaned the silverware organizer tray. And she had forgotten what the order was. And so when I opened it up, the tray was spoon, knife, fork.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, what the hell is this? And she's like, what? And I was like, it's spoon, knife, fork. And she's like, yeah, so? And I was like, that's not the order. And she's like, well, what is the order? And I was like, I don't know, but it's not spoon, knife, fork. Anyways, so.
Oh my God.
Number 1, I'm not easy to live with. Number 2, I'm going to figure out what the order is in the next 6 months. I'm putting a lot of thought into this. I'm doing some beta testing on this. I'm kind of changing around every day. Right now, I'm thinking fork, knife, spoon.
Okay.
But I feel like that works linguistically, but not in terms of utility. So I need to really, really dig deep in this. But within 6 months, I'm going to figure this out.
Okay.
And I'll let y'all know.
I don't think I've ever cared less about a prediction. I really don't. Oh, just quickly.
It really drove me crazy.
Just quickly. Do you think impeached or not impeached? Do you think they'll manage to do it or not?
I think they will impeach him. I don't think the Senate will do anything, so I don't think it'll really matter.
Okay.
But I don't know. He might resign, but maybe not. I would really love it. It's just, I don't know, 10 days. That's all we got to wait. No, 9 days at this point. So that's
whoop, whoop.
Whatever.
All right, let's get to our guest, shall we?
Yes. All right. See you over there.
There. Bye.
Please welcome to the show comedian, co-founder, and editor-in-chief of the Hard Times, and also host of the Hard Times podcast. Edit out those pauses. Bill Conway, how are you doing
I'm
today,
doing
Bill?
well. How are you?
I'm all right. All right. So thanks for being on the show. What's new with you? I don't know what's going on. Let's just start with kind of what's going on today with you.
Well, today has been a big day for me. Went to Trader Joe's and got some groceries, and then went across the street to a different grocery store to get some other things. So yeah, I'm really in the Los Angeles hotspot of COVID. I'm just making sure I up all of my chances of catching the disease as quickly as possible by going to as many indoor buildings as I can. So yeah, that's been my day so far, is just making sure I see as many people, shake hands, and just get out there.
Just so that one day when you're dying, you can look at that box of Kraft macaroni and cheese and be like, it was
oh yeah. Bury me with my macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Bill, you are on any kind of lockdown or anything over there at the moment?
Surprisingly not. There's kind of just a thing where they're just like, hey, try to stay home, but they're not really, even though I think Los Angeles is the most cases in the world right now, but they're just like, yeah, at least in America.
I heard the crazy stat, like 1 in 10 people have COVID now.
I think like a person is dying every 8 seconds or something like that, but
oh my gosh, man.
yeah. So I'm surprised that they haven't gone on a full lockdown, because we locked down pretty early on, and it seemed to be worked in California for a bit, and then everybody just got complacent and decided we beat it, and clearly that was not the case.
No. Well, Christ, man. Well, good luck there. Good luck with that.
Well, the good news is obviously you've got like a presidential changeover. Fingers crossed, I guess.
Yeah, to be determined.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be an improvement.
That was part of the reason that we were late. Is in the intro I was just yelling about what happened on Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
All that madness at the Capitol. So
yeah. I mean, so me and my friends went to the Capitol that day. We were just meant to be peaceful. Didn't really have anything. No.
That is why we had you on, because we want to I've been hearing so much from the mainstream media about quote unquote. I want to hear the other side of the story.
I got some American patriots. We drove our trucks straight up to the door of the Capitol, and we said, "Hey, cops, let us in." And they said, "No problem, guys." And
right this way, sir. And it's like, hey, I always bring those Molotov cocktails with me. They're just always in my truck.
It's an energy drink. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I just love that you are literally the spirit of the Hard Times. Like, as in, like, the writing in the Hard Times is just like you, like, personified.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I just love how you're able to do that so dry, so straight.
It's gotten me into trouble before in relationships and things like that, where I don't know if you're joking, and it's like I usually am. There was I started a new podcast with a couple of friends where we rewatch some old skate videos and break down everything. And in the first episode, I jokingly said that COVID was a liberal hoax, and that I don't believe in it. In one of the reviews for the podcast, we got 3 stars, and said, "I really like the show," up until one of the guys said COVID is a hoax. I wasn't sure if he's joking or not, but my grandmother just died of COVID.
Oh God!
The rest of the show is pretty good. So all right,
but you still got 3 stars. So
wow, I'm impressed. That was generous of them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's like, look, I can't fault the quality of the skate video reviews.
They were very in depth, but however, it did trigger intense emotional reaction when I remembered that my beloved grandmother passed.
But she loved skate videos, so. So you're co-founder of the Hard Times, satirical. For those who don't know, I shouldn't describe it. How would you, if people don't know the Hard Times?
The easy shorthand is the punk onion, more or less. So that's what we've kind of that's the company line for the uninitiated.
Yeah, so it's just a satirical site just, focus. Like if you've been in and around the punk scene in America, I think in particular, a lot of them are just really, really cutting and just like really hit you. I think some of the articles are just very, very good. But yeah, so you guys started that like 4 years ago?
2014 actually. So this will be.
Oh,
Yeah,
2014.
we just had it would have been 6 years in November, so we're heading towards year 7.
Wow.
Okay.
And you got like massive readership, which is super impressive.
Yeah, quite surprising too. It was never meant to be anything other than me and the other co-founder Matt just trying to make a couple of our friends laugh for a bit, and then we noticed it was getting traction, and then it's just continued to build from there, which surprises us every day. We're just waiting for something to happen where the plug gets pulled. We're like, all right, that was a good experiment for a little while, but
Yeah, we're just like, oh, it was all our friend Steve. He made all these fake computer accounts, and
he spent a lot of money on a Malaysian click farm. It's really an elaborate prank.
it's like, well, you got me, Steve. That's way the king.
So did you move to LA like as part of a kind of, I don't know, like whoa, we've like hit the big time thing, or what? When did you move there?
Yes.
Have you gone Hollywood, Bill? Is what
Yeah,
we're saying.
exactly.
So I'm living in Frogtown, which is in East Los Angeles, like right by the much maligned LA River, in a small apartment. So yeah, I am crushing it right now. But no, so when my wife and I first got together, I had just started doing stand-up comedy, and we had like a discussion early on, like if comedy ever does go well, I told her like New York or Los Angeles are really the only places you could do it, and she said to me, I would never move to LA. I will kill myself before I move to Los Angeles. And then we'd been living.
I'm sorry to hear about your wife.
Well, she's gone. I'm a bachelor in Los Angeles. But we had been living in San Francisco at the time, and San Francisco hates Los Angeles. The culture of San
Sure.
Francisco is LA sucks, but everybody in LA thinks San Francisco's great, and they love San Francisco. So it's this weird half rivalry that doesn't exist. But we eventually moved to Portland from there, and while we were living in Portland after 5 years, she just like was like, "Do you want to move to Los Angeles?" And I said, "If that's your decision, then yes, we can move to Los Angeles." And we've been here for about 2 years, and we love it here. So we'll be sticking
Yeah.
around LA for a while.
Oh, that's fantastic. So,
Oh, that's good.
what do you love about it?
So as much crap as people talk on LA about it being like dirty and too much traffic, if you can have a job where you don't have a commute, that much, like if you can work close to
Yeah.
where you live, then it is always nice here. It is 70 degrees and sunny right now with like no wind. It's just nice. And I can't say anything other than it's a great place to live. Yeah, sometimes the whole state lights on fire. Big deal, whatever. Other than the entire state being on fire from time to time, Los Angeles is great. But that is also saying like I'm lucky enough to work from home, so I don't have to commute anywhere. I'm not the person stuck in traffic, trying to like learn Italian while I wait in traffic or something like that. Because,
No.
but
You're just cheating yourself there, not learning a language. Yeah, I like Los Angeles a lot. I've been there, the few times I've been there, I've been like, oh, it's a lot prettier town than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like nice little corners of it. I mean, there's dumpy parts to it, but I mean, I've been in worse. I've certainly been in uglier towns than Los Angeles.
It's such a giant city that like
Yeah.
you find the neighborhood that you like, and then it's great. And there's a lot more green space than you would actually expect of Los Angeles. You can
Yeah.
find we're right by Elysian Park here, which is a great park with a lot of hiking trails and stuff. So we take our dog up there all the time, and yeah, it's
Okay.
can't beat it.
And you're right by the LA River for swimming and things. That's
Yeah,
great.
I just did my early morning swim this morning. I have typhoid now, which is unfortunate. Should have looked at the warning signs, but hey,
You can also
gotta pay
do
to
all
play.
your fishing. In your day-to-day life, Bill, like how are you finding it? Is it very different to your life before? Like has it changed a lot? I guess you were probably working from home before as well, though, right?
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate where my day-to-day changed 0%, other than I don't go out at night to do comedy anymore. So like I'm just going to bed earlier
Right.
and waking up like not hating myself, like being like, oh fucking last night sucked. So
Yeah.
That's nice. How's your wife finding
Yeah.
it?
She had a little bit of a harder go with it. She was working in the pastry business, so she was in like a tight, cramped kitchen. And then when the first lockdown came, she basically got laid off. But she found a new job selling camper vans, like Mercedes Sprinter vans, like converted. And in Los Angeles, you have people that have a lot of money who want to buy these things so they can get out of the city. And so it's been really weird because she'll meet like celebrities who come in, like Ted Danson. She almost sold one to, and it's just like, yeah.
Wow.
So she got to meet Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen, his wife, and she's like, yeah, what a weird day. And that only happens in Los Angeles that you almost
I
sell a
mean,
camper van to Ted Danson.
and it seems like the logical step from pastry chef to camper van salesperson.
It's the same old story, It's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like girl moves to LA, girl gets a job as pastry chef, global
Yeah.
pandemic happens, girl starts selling.
so cliche. Like we just laugh about that. Like, oh man, it's been written so many times. She's been getting used to that new job, and it's got some interesting experiences where she's dealing with wealthier people than we have ever had to deal with, and just how they throw money around. You're like, wait a second, this is what it's like to have some cash flow, I guess.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is it like camper vans? Like I've known comedians who lived in camper van or like in vans. I think just straight up vans in LA. But yeah, these sound very fancy.
Yeah,
very nice.
it's like a full build out, so you'll have like a dinette set in there and stuff like that, and a couple
Wow,
of
that sounds awesome.
like a pop top thing so you can sleep up there or whatever you need. And they have like a full service where they take care of everything, and they're like a brand new company, but they got popular pretty fast. And we just happened to live right next door to the building, so she's like, I'll just go over and see if they're hiring. And now she's like the head salesperson over there. So
Oh my God, that's amazing.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Getting that sweet commission money.
Yeah.
And nice for her that she doesn't have a big commute either.
Yeah.
That is also true. Yeah. You guys have really cracked this whole LA
Yeah.
thing. Like,
We were joking around in our first year in Los Angeles that things were just like going easier for us. Like, what's something bad is going to happen in 2020? Little did I know it was going to be a global pandemic that killed almost 250,000 people.
it was you.
Yeah, but that was the other shoe that dropped. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
But you're writing, you're editing for the hard times. That's keeping you pretty busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've had some friends who've written some stuff for the hard times. So basically, I'm asking why haven't I done it? I just no. But how much of that is just you guys? It's a 3-man operation. It's you and who are the other two
Matt.
fellows?
So there's Matt. He's the co-founder, and on the Hard Times editorial side, the managing editor is a woman named Chrissy Howard, who, when we wrote the Hard Times book a year and a half ago, she was the other driving force of that, and now she's also instrumental in the editorial process as well. So it's kind of us three that decide the fate of headlines, and then we assign them out to various writers who pitched the headlines to us, and then we handle the editorial from there. They'll turn in a draft, and we'll take it from there, basically.
Okay. And I was just curious how much of that is you guys, like, just your output, or is it a lot of it just being sourced from?
So we have a online pitch group, it's like a Facebook group, and we have a couple hundred people in that group, and there are only a certain number are active at a time, but they will pitch a headline in the group, and in theory, other people in the group will look at the headline and they'll hit like if they say, that's funny, so that should be on the website.
Okay.
And the editors also pitch the same way, so I can't just be like, I can't just write something and throw it up on the website just because I felt like it was funny. I put everything through the same semi-democratic process, but we then round up the headlines every week. We look over what got the most traction in the group, and then we make the decision from there. And sometimes a very popular headline will get rejected because maybe The Onion already did it, or it's like a stupid pun that isn't really actually funny when you think about it, or can't support an article because puns are dumb.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that sounds good. It's like it's a real meritocracy over there at the Hard Times.
A little bit. The editors still come down with an iron fist. We make sure that everybody knows who's boss. We send various threats to people through the mail, some of our contributors, just to keep them in line and scared. Whatever it takes.
You're just like, who are we sending this goat head to? But yeah, and you have the Hard Times podcast.
Yes. So that's a weekly podcast where we talk. We kind of started as an excuse to talk to musicians that we grew up listening to, and nothing really more than that. So we'll have various, like if anybody wants to listen to an absolutely insane podcast, listen to the one with Lars Fredriksson from Rancid. That man is a maniac, and he has the craziest stories to tell, like how he was 11 years old and on LSD and popped out his friend's eyeball with a toy from a train track. Like high on LSD, 11 years old, popped out his friend's eyeball.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
I don't know what the worst part of that story is.
That's horrific.
I asked him where he got the acid, and he said the Hells Angels, like it was nothing. I was just like, oh, of course, yeah, the Hells Angels. Where else would you get acid from?
Yeah, are you an idiot? That's also where I got my crank.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That's amazing. That's really fun. Yeah, I was looking at some back episodes, and you've got some amazing guests on there from some great bands. But that's nice. Yeah. So you run that with Matt, right?
Co-founder Matt Sankum.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else that you've sort of got into during this sort of very strange period of time that is not anything to do with work?
Let's see. I recently started, because like most people forever before I started being able to pay myself through comedy, which is still strange to me, I always worked in warehouses. So I was on my feet for 10 hours a day, walking around, like loading boxes and then loading them into trucks. And so I am a spokesperson for the Quarantine 15. So I recently got like a jump rope set of weighted jump rope. So I've been doing that and actually enjoying jumping rope in the morning, which is something that I've been doing, which, So I'm going to be like one of those weird jump rope guys on Instagram pretty soon.
I didn't know there were jump rope guys on Instagram. You're really into the jump rope. Your downstairs neighbor, not as much.
Yeah, they invested in a couple new broom handles because they've already hit theirs down to a nub.
Yeah. Wait, so it's a weighted jump rope. This is not a concept I'm familiar with. So which part of the jump rope is weighted? Is it the handles or the rope?
The cord. It's the cord part of the jump rope. So I had never really used
the cord. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, you're not a jump rope guy. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not a roper, as they call them. Right.
I don't know what like a standard jump. I'd been looking for one that just had good bearings in the handle so it wouldn't get tangled. That's all I wanted, was just something, and I couldn't find something suitable. But then an acquaintance turned me on to this one company called Cross Rope, and then I looked them up and I was like, wait, are they associated with CrossFit or something like that? And I still am not sure, but I decided I'll just try them, and their handles are really nice and they spin, but the cord itself would be like a quarter pound, which is kind of about what a normal jump rope would weigh. But then I didn't realize when I went up to a half pound that all of a sudden I'd want to throw up after 10 jumps because it was so exhausting. And then I stupidly also got like a 1 pound and a 2 pound, which I haven't even swung around yet. It's like, I'm not ready for those because those might kill me.
Oh my God. Wow.
I love the idea of like watching you from a distance struggle to get it. Like just somebody watching, like, look at this poor man. He can't get a jump rope over his head.
It hits me in the back of the head, and I've just like separated vertebrae. It's
knocked himself out. This is insane. Sorry, it's not insane. This is amazing. This is not. I wasn't familiar with the roping subculture. How did you get into jump rope? Is it something you've always been into?
So no and yes. All right. So I grew up with, my dad was a boxer. He lived in the back of a gym. So boxing, standard warm up is jumping rope. So I would always, since I was a kid, I always had been around jump ropes. I boxed myself for a very small amount of time, never like professionally or even amateur, but just went to the gym and got the workouts in, and the warm up was jump ropes. As I'm now 36 and I don't skateboard as much as I used to in my youth, where I I'd skate from one side of the city to the other side of the city, and never had to think about working out because I was just out skateboarding. And I was like, what
Sure.
kind of workouts would I enjoy that aren't miserable to me? And I was like, jumping rope seems to be what it is. And strangely enough, in the skateboard world, because I would attribute it to this one guy who's named Kelly Hart, who hosts one of the co-hosts of a show called The Nine Club, which is like the most popular skateboard podcast. He is an advocate for these jump ropes, and he has been so you'll see a lot more skateboarders over the age of 30 jumping rope, because that's a good way to warm up, and so we're not just hurting ourselves and our poor joints, because yes, turns out skateboarding hurts, and it only hurts more as soon as you crest over 30. And
Right. I'm 42. Every once in a while, I have a passing thought like, should I get into skateboarding
Oh my
now?
absolutely you
I
should.
haven't skateboarded since I was 12.
Man,
30
But I'm thinking like, I'd probably still be good at it.
30-year hiatus, but now is the time to get back into it.
right, as he's also about to have a baby, it's like, I think it's time for me to get a skateboard and potentially end my life. Oh my god.
Is this my midlife crisis?
So another kind of strange thing about Corona that a lot of people might not realize is that thought of I should get back into skateboarding has happened so much that if you go to a skate shop, their walls are empty because so many people are skateboarding now. Because like, so everybody else like, oh, I used to skate, has gone back out and gotten a skateboard, and like the
Sure.
skateboard industry is apparently booming right now. They can't produce enough to keep up with the demand.
Wow.
Huh.
Well, it looks super cool. You know, I mean, that's the thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, I always wanted to skate. I've never ever skated, and I will never attempt to do it. But I think every time I see a skate, and especially like, I don't know, like a cool skateboarding girl, like they're so cool. You know, I mean, I'd love to be that.
Yeah, the
Sure.
emergence
You want to be cool Betty.
The emergence of the cool skateboarding girl has been the best thing of like the last 5 years, because it used to be such a boys club, especially when I was like growing up skateboarding. There was like the one girl, but now I live right near a skate park, like it's right down the block. If I opened up my window, you could hear the skateboarding at the park, and it's a pretty much a division half and half, and it's like that's great to see. It didn't used to be that way.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, that's great.
There's hope for me yet. There's not.
Now if we could just get comedy that way.
Yeah, one day. Maybe when women start being funny. Am I right?
Hey, there's a hot take.
Whoa.
Whoa, okay.
Man, I didn't realize this was going to be a far right podcast, but when we started, but
You know my views. So you've got into skipping. Have you ever hit yourself in there? Sorry, am I not allowed to say? Sorry, jumping.
He's a grown
Sorry.
man.
Roping. Have you hit yourself in the back of the head really hard at any point?
No, it doesn't usually. What it does when you mess up, whips you and will usually get you across the thigh and butt. You know, so if you hit it hard enough, you'll get a little bit of a stinger, but rarely does it get you in the head. They're usually long enough to clear you pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
Is it mostly just a cardio exercise, or are you actually like working on, or like what muscle groups is it, or is it just mostly just
The
cardio?
weighted ones, I was shocked at how much it worked upper body as well, like, because it's definitely, I'm just used to the cardio side of it, of you just get your heart rate up, but then the weighted ones, I tried to do, because I recently just started this with like in the last 2 weeks, and you know, there's a free trial on their app of like, hey, try these workouts. So I've been doing the beginner ones, you know, it's like, all right, I'll work my way into this. It's like, all right, I'm going to try one of the harder ones today. And I made it halfway through. I was like, I'm fucking done. Jesus Christ, it's the hardest thing in the world. So I'll try that again in maybe 2 weeks.
Oh,
Is it like a certain rhythm that you skip, or you skip? Sorry,
No,
that you jump to.
No,
I don't want to. I feel like skip feels like so like it diminishes the hard work that you're doing.
it really, you know, depends on how fast you can get the thing around, because obviously the weighted ropes go slower because there's so much more inertia to get around. But once you get the rhythm, you can stick with it. But the 1 pound one, I was using that this morning, and after 15 seconds in a rhythm, it was like my body felt like it wanted to explode. Like it was a strange sensation, and I did not expect that from jumping rope. But it's certainly, if anybody is looking to get it. So actually, I forgot to mention, I'm now a spokesperson for Cross Rope, and if you use my discount code, yeah, Conway 35 to get 35% off your next order over it. So, yeah, it's definitely, we'll see. I want to stick with it strictly because it's like, I'm at a desk most of the day doing work. It's like I need to get around all of this. As much as I walk my dog during my breaks, those casual walks with him are just not enough at this point.
So for 6 months,
100%.
like in the future, do you have any like big goals for like jump rope?
Have you seen Creed or Creed 2 by any chance? I want to look like Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, that's I want to be as shredded as Michael B. Jordan in those movies. And if I'm not, it's a complete failure.
It'd be really funny if next time we see you, like you're just basically like just a mound, like
just cut. Just like, I can do this without my shirt on, right? In terms of stuff you're into these days, the jump roping, big thing.
It's probably my number one priority right now. I've put that in front of my wellness of my marriage.
Work.
It's like I've told my wife, like, hey, you're number 3 at this point. She's like, what's number 2? I was like, I haven't decided yet, but I'm just leaving it to stay.
The dog might slot into there. I don't know. You might be knocked out at 4. You're a jump rope widow now.
Is there anything else like day to day that you've got that's like a big focus? Or what about stand up? Are you still writing?
I don't know about either of you, but I have had such a hard time committing to writing stand up when I can't imagine what the world is going to look like when it comes back, that I just don't even want to bother being like, oh, so farts smell bad, huh? It's like,
am I right, guys?
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
So here's another interesting thing about the room. I'm locked in 10 hours a day.
Yeah. So I have struggled with that, and like maybe when it's on the horizon of like, hey, stand up will return, then I will kind of like focus in on that more. And but also like when this all comes back, how weird the world is going to be afterwards. Just like, I don't know if my bit about tattoos is as important, and because before this it was the most important bit in the world. Like everybody talked about it.
Right.
It was changing lives, but now it's just
every night you're out there crafting it, honing it. It was razor sharp, and now just I feel like getting on stage. I have this big fear that like whenever we're back, because I haven't done stand up since March, and then like when I'll get on a stage and I'll be like, what the fuck is this even? And just like wander off, like just feel so empty and like pointless.
Yeah, the existential crisis of is stand up anything valuable is like in my head at all times. Well, not at all times, but at least like thinking about that going forward. I mean, I love stand up. I want to continue to do stand up, but what's it going to look like after all this? And I don't know. I just hope like the guys like a Jeff Dunham that use a lot of puppets, like that they survive this, because we'll need to laugh again, and have the good prop comedians come back. That's what's most important.
Of course, yeah. I mean, where were we going to be without our racist puppet telling us what to think? Okay, so you jump in rope 6 months from now, big goals, going to win a double Dutch competition.
I don't know if I'm ready for the double Dutch yet. 6 months is going to be to train for that, because you actually have to learn the song too. And the jump roping I could probably get, but the song part, that's I'm out. I suppose like the other thing that I've been working on is, I live in Los Angeles, so part of you're required to start to try to write scripts on things. So trying to figure out that kind of writing muscle. It's another, me and a friend of mine have been trying to just figure out like, what do we want to write and what can we do with it? So maybe in 6 months we'll have an actual script for something completely finished. That would be the main goal.
Nice.
So are you working on anything like a TV show, a movie, a web series?
I think the goal is right now we have like a movie idea, but more probably focus on like a TV pilot, is probably the more, kind of LA thing to do, I guess, at least at this point. Everything seems to be television these days. So
Sure.
Okay,
Oh,
cool. So you
okay.
could essentially use this as a bit of motivation, to know that like in 6 months we're going to be checking up on you
yes.
on how this has
Yeah.
gone.
And you'll have a pilot about a guy that jumps a rope across the United States.
Here's my pitch. He's a professional jump roper.
You know the type.
Yeah. Well, we've seen 10 jump rope pitches this year.
Does he do 1 pound weight? No, 2 pounds. Okay.
And he's like, I'm going to make it up to 3 pounds. And they're like, you're crazy, Jimmy. You kill yourself. And he's like, I'm going to live my life.
Well,
It's like Rocky
can I
doing
use
jump roping.
this?
Though Rocky had jump roping in it too. So it's just Rocky.
Yeah, it's Rocky with an extremely weighted jump rope and no boxing. It's the good parts of Rocky.
Yeah, and all the egg drinking.
There's going to be tons of egg drinking.
I love it. Okay, so you've got your movie that you're writing. We're expecting a pilot for a TV series or a fully finished film script by 6 months' time.
Yes.
This isn't an assignment. You make it sound like we're assigning.
I will have this on your
It's like-
desk. Yeah.
What else? Are there any other hopes that you have for 6 months' time?
Well, if we want to get very specific skateboard wise, I mean, we've known each other going back decades. So you know that I've always struggled with nose
course.
manual nollie 360 flips out. You know I've struggled with this.
Oh yeah. I mean, this has been like, people are like, what's Bill like? He's like, well, he struggles with the
Yeah, the nose manual nollie 360 flip out. So that this has been a dream trick of mine for a very long time, and I will come back. This is my solemn vow that I will come back having landed at least one. That is my vow to everybody out there, that one of those will be landed, and there will be video proof of it.
Oh my gosh,
I was gonna say, if you come back to this podcast and you make that claim and you don't have a video, you can fuck right off.
Just don't come back.
Don't come back. Yeah, just don't even
I don't
fucking
answer
come
your
back.
emails,
How about
you'll know
that?
that I have failed.
Yeah.
Oh.
The follow-up email would be like, Bill, did you hit that trick?
Sorry, new email address.
Sure
Who is
didn't
this?
Okay, so you're gonna hit that trick. You're gonna keep your jump roping, keep doing a bunch of writing, hard times, plugging away, more podcasts. You got what's the skateboarding podcast you're
It's
doing?
called Vert Button, and that name comes from the in the late 90s, early 2000s, as street skateboarding was becoming more popular. There was always one part in a skate video that was a vert skater, like the Tony Hawk on the half pipe, and you would hit the fast forward button right through that. So the fast forward button became known as the Vert Button, and so that is where that comes from. And we rewatched the skateboard videos from the late 90s, early 2000s, which me and the other two hosts, this guy Tim Ward and Andrew Cannon, we're all similar of age, so we came up in those years from like 1996 to 2006, the golden age of skateboard videos, in our opinion. Ask anybody 10 years older than us, and they will say, no, 1986 to 1996 was the golden era.
Right.
But yeah, so we rewatch these old skate videos, break them down part by part, their music choices, and then we just nerd out on the specific skateboarding that is happening, and talk about whether the effect it had on us as 15-year-olds and how it drove us forward.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I forget why, but I watched Yeah Right the other
Oh
day.
yeah, that's a great one. That will be one of the ones on the.
Yeah.
Was it because of the Owen Wilson part where he just randomly spouts off skate knowledge and then pretends to do a blunt slide down the handrail?
No, the poser. No, I think it was. I think I remember what it was. For some reason, I was talking to somebody about Fat Lip, the rapper, and I was looking up stuff about him, and then it brought up, like, somehow on his Wikipedia page, it reminded me of Yeah Right, because they used one of his songs. Yeah, so that was how I ended up in that rabbit hole. But I watched the whole thing. It's all on Vimeo, so I just watched it.
Yeah, I mean,
It was really
that
good.
was a very interesting video for that time, especially the green screen skateboards where they're just floating around. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about skateboarding. I don't know anything about
That's
like
all right.
punk stuff. The closest I've come to anything punk related is I don't know if you've heard of this film. I haven't even watched it because I was too ashamed. But it's called How to Talk to Girls at Parties, and Nicole Kidman plays like this punk sort of I don't know, Queen, and I was like one of her punk crew. And I spent the entire shoot just being absolutely terrified because the director wanted it to be like hardcore, like realistic, and someone got smashed in the face with a guitar. So I spent the whole time just like at the back pretending that I was a part of it. But he was like, everyone was like being encouraged to like be really crushed by the crowd, and I was like at the back being like, oh yeah, I'm a punk, woo.
Well, little do you know that that's actually the standard thing when you go to a show. You usually stand towards the back and you yell like, I'm a punk, woo, and that's how people know you're legit.
Oh my god, I really.
Otherwise, how would people know you're a
really
punk?
was.
I mean,
It really was. The good thing though, that because I was hiding at the back, then they amazingly decided to film this scene where Nicole Kidman like pushes past, and because I was at the back, she like pushed me. I was like, yeah, man, being pushed by Nicole Kidman, this is awesome. So that's the limit of my punk knowledge. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, Nicole Kidman is a punk icon, so you know.
Yeah, she was really ethereal.
Moulin Rouge. There's no more punk movie than that.
It got like literally like 2 stars, which was very disappointing, but also not surprising at the time. Anywho, so predictions for the future. Do you have any massive sort of predictions about the world or about, you know, stuff that's related to you?
Well, early on, so we're recording this still before Joe Biden has been inaugurated. I had predicted that Donald Trump will lose the election, yet still remain president. And I have not been proven otherwise so far. So, so we will see. I'm hoping that that is a prediction that does not come to pass, and that he is gone in the time that he should be gone. Should have been sooner. But as far as the grand predictions, other than the vaccine's gonna, you know, make everybody walk backwards, that it's gonna
but I mean, because of course, COVID is a liberal hoax.
If you do get the vaccine, you're only going to buy Microsoft products after that because it's just going to be ingrained in you. So those are a couple things. I'm going to warn people not to take it.
Use every platform you're on.
But yeah, I think 6 months from now, unfortunately, we're not going to be that much further along than we are now. I don't think comedy will have returned by then. Maybe in small pockets of places that really pretend that COVID doesn't exist and they never cared to begin with, they will continue to do comedy, but those aren't comedians you want to listen to anyway. And
sure.
So we'll be. I think in 6 months from now, we will finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, we'll be getting closer, and optimism will be high, but we won't be out of the water just yet.
Okay,
it's deep.
That's all right, and we'll speak to you next time from the Independent Republic of California.
And I will be.
Trump takes over the rest of the United States.
I'll be the supreme leader of it because I will be so jacked from all my weighted jump roping that nobody will even. Because they can't get within 3 feet of me because the rope is whipping so fast that if they come in, then they're just knocked right down.
Right. Yeah, and you'll be like, "I'm the king of the LA River. Anybody who wants a drink has to go through me." Excellent. Those are great predictions. So, Bill, we're not going to say goodbye to you because through the miracle of editing, we are going to continue this conversation seamlessly in 6 months' time. But one thing we do ask our guests is, before you go, we ask you to set up a joke that you do not know how it's going to end. And so you have a little bit of time to think of a really good setup, and then you have 6 months to think of the perfect punchline.
All right. Interesting. All right. Yeah. This is quite the twist. Yes. Well, I suppose the question I would have, well, the joke setup, I guess, would have to be something like, well, did you hear about that super fit jump roper that's been all over town causing trouble? He keeps getting made fun of by stupid scooter kids, so he skipped town.
Skip town.
Yeah.
That is.
I tell you, my dad used to tell me that joke when I was a kid. So.
So yeah, but I feel like that fits with the jump roping. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of jump roping.
Yeah. Bill, how have the last 6 months been treating you?
Well, so last 6 months have not been too bad. The lockdowns or the restrictions on all COVID things are basically gone in all of America, and Los Angeles is like the only place that's still like, do we want to still wear masks? Because, it seems like we should still be wearing masks. But
Right.
other than that, like comedy's back a little bit, which, is good, I guess. I haven't been doing any sets since it returned. I don't know about you over there, how, I think you opened up after we did,
Actually,
but I'm not
we
sure.
are fully open. Well, it's been this graduated opening, and then the 19th, like all the restrictions are gone,
Okay.
which nobody's happy about.
Yeah.
Because infections are spiking right now, and so they're like, this is probably a bad idea, but the government's really just dead set on it. The operative word there being dead.
Yes,
So,
yes. Yeah,
Um,
that seems to be, I feel like over here, everybody's just like, we did it. We defeated it. And it's like, no. But yeah, it's been interesting. My wife and I just went to the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles yesterday, which was like the first non-just hang out in a park date we've been on in, since March. So that was, nice to do that. But everybody was responsible in wearing masks and everything inside. So it was good that you didn't have like the one guy getting like kicked out screaming like, this is tyranny.
these are my rights.
I want to look at them damn dinosaur bones.
The dinosaur bones that the devil made to trick us about evolution.
That's 100% right. I'm glad somebody agrees finally.
Wait, no, I was just...
Oh no, wait, shit, I've revealed myself.
Bill, that was a bit. What are you talking about?
Fuck. Yeah, no, I was doing a bit too. We
were all doing bits. It was a bit. Well, that's nice. You got to go to the Natural History Museum, and I haven't been to the Natural History Museum here in Oxford in a while, and I think I might go this week.
Do you have a lot more like swamp bodies in a natural history museum like that?
No, but there's a fair number of shrunken heads.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the museum here in Oxford is ridiculous because it's like a movie set of a natural history museum. It's like ridiculously beautiful, and then in the back of the Natural History Museum there's a second museum called the Pitt River, which is like some weird Victorian British man's idea of like world culture, where he's just plundered all of these random things from different cultures around the world, and they just put them in a bunch of glass cases. So it's I don't know, it's weird. I love it. It's a weird giant warehouse of strange objects. So
yeah, that was the one thing when we were walking around the Natural History Museum when we got to some of like the Mayan stuff, and you're like, this is stolen, right? Like this is all stolen.
You want to see stolen shit, you need to go to the British Museum. I like to call it the world's biggest evidence locker, because there's not like a thing in there that there isn't a country in the world that's like, can we have that back, please? We would like our culture back, thanks.
Oh, but we need to gawk at it. Like you just can't have that back.
Ooh, spot of trouble there. Yeah. But anyways, so let's see. Oh, I forgot what your predictions were.
So what I had predicted was that we'd still be in COVID, light at the end of the tunnel, which isn't entirely wrong. It wasn't a perfect prediction, but
it turns out you can see the light from still pretty far inside the tunnel.
Yeah.
That was the thing we've all learned. It's like,
yeah.
Thought this light was closer.
But yeah, I mean the vaccination. How are the vaccination rates high where you are? Because like it feels like everybody in America that was gonna get vaccinated did it, and everybody else is just like, nope. We want these variants and we want them bad. So deal with it.
Yeah. Vaccination rates are fairly high here. But yeah, I feel like, vaccination rates are getting better. I don't know. Yeah, the U.S., who knows?
Yeah, it's strangely enough, the places where there's not high vaccination rates have the most infection rates. Maybe that's, just a coincidence, but I'm no scientist.
No, you see, I read that there was that 99% of all fatalities now are unvaccinated people, and I don't again, I'm not a scientist, so I don't understand if the correlation works there, like if correlation is causation. I don't know, but it seems suspect.
It does. It's just a tad.
Yeah. And then so it's a hard time still going on strong. You haven't
Still
done any
going.
stand-up since we last talked.
That's correct. Haven't done any stand-up. You know what? I was thinking about it too. I had a stand-up comedian friend over for dinner not too long ago. He's at the point of stand-up where he's doing road gigs and stuff like that, like like college circuit stuff, where he gets booked on those things, which can be pretty lucrative.
Yeah.
And so he's getting back into that. And I was just talking to him about like, do I want to, like, am I excited to go back to stand up and just be like, yeah, so my dick is weird, and then just be like, oh yeah, and what, I don't know, it's gonna be a strange.
First off, that's timeless material.
Thank you.
And also, don't hide that from the world, the weirdness of your dick.
Yes, you're right. I
think, don't hide your light under a bushel basket there, bro. That's the world needs to know.
Yeah, after all this, it's like a little bit of light in a dark world. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree. It's an open mic I run. I'm restarting it in August, so that'll be my first return to stand up. And I just keep thinking about like, what am I even gonna say to people? I have nothing to say to people.
Yeah, I have one friend who booked a show out here. I think it's like in a month. I really should check when, but I'm on that show. It will be the first time. And I just don't know. Like, I'll probably just get up there and just tank it and just be like, fuck this. Like, I'm sorry, everybody. This is I'm done.
Yeah. Just like, this concept's weird, right? Like, objectively, like, this is odd, right? Like, now that I've stepped away from it for 18 months, I feel like this doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, who started this art form?
Yeah. Is your wife still working at the motorhome company?
So that's an interesting story in itself. So my wife was the head salesperson at this luxury-ish camper van place, but they moved their location to like a bigger building.
Uh-huh.
No problem.
Because she's been selling so many camper vans, they needed a bigger location.
So that's what you would think, right? Except they weren't selling any camper vans anymore because all this outdoor world got so popular that like BMW or Mercedes couldn't keep up with the demand for vans. So there was no vans to sell anymore because the place had sold out of like,
right.
So you have this high demand, nothing to sell. And so her bosses are just like, you need to sell vans. And she's like, you need to get me vans to sell.
Yeah.
And it just became a big thing. And she just got out of that company because it seemed like it started to feel like a pyramid scheme almost
right.
to her, like, what are we actually doing here? And
it was just an elaborate money laundering scheme.
Wouldn't be
selling fictional
surprised.
vans.
In 2 years, we might be reading articles and being like, "Yep, should have seen it coming." But but she actually found a job. So we live by the much maligned LA River, which has a bike path that runs from Griffith Park up to. It's a pretty decent bike path, but just 1 mile up the path, she got a job at a place that like fabricates custom furniture, whether it's for art installations or if a Hollywood set needs something, or like say Stussy in Japan needs a particular desk, like they fabricate these things. So she's working at that place now, so it's right by her house. It's a job she enjoys, and it doesn't seem like a pyramid scheme in any way. So it's all going well. So she's happy, and that makes everything better.
Oh, that's good. Is she customizing things, or is she selling customized furniture?
She's kind of on the end where she's talking with the customers, and also she's like the shop manager. So when the carpenter says, I need this and that, then she can put in the orders for this and that and make sure that everything is running efficiently.
Frankly, your wife has a very interesting resume, and I kind of wish that we had talked to her instead.
Yeah. I can get her for you right now.
Is she available? Can you just pop in the other room and grab her?
Yeah, 100%. She'll be on her lunch break real soon, so she'll have no problem doing that. But yeah, she is far more interesting than I am, and I fully admit that.
No, never. How's the Hard Times going? Still running strong?
Yeah, Hard Times is going well. We were able to bring on another full-time employee. I had mentioned her previously, Chrissy.
Okay.
She was like freelance, but like still getting like a monthly stipend. But now she's full-time with health insurance and all of that stuff. So,
ooh, fancy.
So it's she's part of the big corporate wheels that are grinding along, and
right.
we'll grind her down into pulp, and there'll be nothing left once this online satire machine is done with her.
Yeah, just in the pocket of big satire now.
Oh my God, it is. Online publishing is booming. I don't know if you know this, but
I wasn't aware. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, there's nothing people want more than to read on the internet. It's much more interesting than the TikToks or pornography. It's all about the written word on the internet.
That's nice. It's reassuring.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, because I'm never going to do anything live again. Do people like podcasts still?
I think a certain segment like Joe Rogan's podcast, and that's about it.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to get into that segment.
Yeah, it's a segment. I don't know if you really want them anyway. Yeah.
But you're doing the Hard Times podcast still?
Yes, still going strong with that. We've had a couple of interesting guests lately, but still nobody beats Lars Fredrickson and his crazy stories. But we've had like Laura Jane Grace recently, which was really fun talking with her. She's from Against Me, and yeah, still going that. Vert Button is still going strong. We do that one monthly, so it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
But as you know, when you have a co-host, it is sometimes hard to schedule things, and one of our co-hosts is a very busy guy. He does a lot of work for the Street League, which is a skateboard competition, so he's the commentator for that. So when they go out on the road, he is often the guy in the booth calling the thing. So if like Street League has a thing in Iowa, he flies out for that, and sometimes he does work for like Mountain Dew and stuff like that. So
well, you got to do the do. I mean,
hey, say it. Lifetime supply of Code Red he has. And,
oh God.
Yeah.
Is it just the one bottle then?
Yeah. It's an 8-ounce can that nobody's gonna touch.
The ironic thing about a lifetime supply of Code Red is each bottle that you drink, your lifetime is shortened by that much.
They've done the math.
Yeah. They're like, no, we'll make money on this. Don't worry about it. The accounting department at Mountain Dew is like, what are you, crazy? And the guys are like, don't worry. We know what's in it. So that's good. Still excited to do the podcast and things. And I mean, I pretended to be interested in other things. I'm just really interested in the jump roping. Are you still jump roping?
Yeah. All right. So re-listening to this, and I had just started jump roping when we first talked. I have jump roped every single day basically since then. And
really?
I was listening to myself talk about like how the 1 and 2 pound ropes, like I couldn't swing them. Now I'm
they
doing
were like
them,
your Everest.
Yeah. Now I'm doing full 1 minute, like going fast, 1 minute, which is a decent amount for that weight. And then you take like a 30-second rep or 30-second break and then do another minute. So I have conquered the 1 and 2 pound rope. The 2 pound still beats the crap out of you, but the 1 pound, it's almost like, what is this loser doing over here? Give me a challenge.
Is this a limp piece of spaghetti? What is this?
Is this regular? Can somebody weigh this? It doesn't feel like 1 pound to me.
Big honey, did you switch out my jump rope with dental floss because it is so light? Come on, this is a good gag though.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think last we talked, I lost 12 pounds just doing that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I do that for like an hour every morning, and then kind of just start my day after that. And and some friends have gotten interested, like because I'll post an occasional like jokey jump rope video on Instagram or something like that, and then they'll be like, well, wait, should I start jump roping? And be like, yeah, you should. Go get a jump rope. And
guys, it changed my life.
Yep, 100%.
Actually, I will honestly, I admit that like every couple of days I'm like, maybe I should jump rope. It's like I'll just wait until I talk to Bill again to see if I should get a jump. Should I be looking on eBay for like used jump ropes? Maybe get into jump roping.
So you don't have to go on eBay to get a used jump rope. They're already cheap.
Okay.
You can go get one. I've got one sitting right next to me right here. But you can get a decent one for like $25. That's gonna do the job. You just have to figure out the rhythm of what you want to do. As far as like, you don't just do it and go, I'm gonna do 15 minutes straight, because then the next day your calves will be so locked up that you wouldn't be able to walk for the next 3 months, and you'll be like, well, this was dumb. So you just you do like build up to it, like do 15 minutes, but you do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and then just build up your tolerance. And because when we first started talking, I think my workouts were like 15 to 20 minutes a day. Now I'm not even sweating in those first 15 to 20 minutes, like the cardio has been built up to the point where I have to go like a full hour to feel it.
You just start jump roping and then all of a sudden the day is gone. Yeah. Like the sun went down. Like what happened?
Yeah. People are wondering why I've been evicted from my apartment, why my marriage fell apart. It's like, well, I needed to get my workout in, and it just gets longer each day.
People are like, have you seen Bill? I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was jump roping towards the city boundaries, and I haven't seen him since. It's just, he's gone. I think he was headed towards Nevada. I don't know.
Yeah, it's relatively accurate. But yeah. Thankfully I live in like a neighborhood that has a park at the end of the street, so I just go to that park, like because jump ropes can be kind of loud. So, there's nobody over there in the mornings, and I just do it over there. And yeah, it's been good. The only thing that's kept me off of it is since we last talked, I think I've had like 3 skateboard injuries that like really fucked me up, like hurt my foot really bad. So can't jump rope with a hurt foot, but eventually that healed. Sure. Then I fell and I think I broke my wrist. My wife certainly thinks that I broke it. But I said,
can I see your wrist?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's just like all black and like hand just hanging on by one ligament. Like I think it's fine.
It swelled up pretty bad, and I mean, I had full function and full range of everything, so I was like, I think it's just a nasty sprain or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that kind of affected, so I couldn't do the weighted jump ropes when I had that. I could only do like the really light one because it didn't strain my wrist. And then 3 weeks ago, this is in my 25 years of skateboarding, I have never had this happen, but I fell and smashed my head off the ground so fucking hard, fell backwards, hit my tailbone, that still hurts a little bit. And I whiplashed back, like just snapped back in the top of my head, hit the ground. And I was like laying there, and one of the dudes I was skating with like came over and he's like, oh yeah, you hit your head. And I was like, shit. And then I pulled my hand back and it was just covered in blood. He's like, oh, and you're bleeding. It's like, oh, fuck. So we flushed it out with some water, and it was a small cut, but it just rung my bell pretty bad.
I don't know if this happened with you, but I once had a bike accident where I was going down a hill very fast at night, and I didn't see like there was a divot.
Yeah.
And somehow I like hit the divot, and I don't really know how this happened, but somehow I ended up like completely horizontal on my back and just landed flat on my back. And then like I whipped my head backwards, and thank God I had a helmet on or I would probably be dead. And I was fine in the end. I had an expensive CAT scan, as is the American way.
Of course.
And like the next day I was laying in bed and my neck didn't hurt, but I like tried to like sit up and like my head wouldn't move. Like I had no muscle strength in my neck, and I had to like literally grab the back of my head and then like lift my head up with my arm in order to like sit up. It was the weirdest experience.
It's funny you mentioned that 100% was when I was getting out of bed in the morning to alleviate the pain in my neck from the whiplash. I would grab the back of my head and do a sit up and get out of bed that way. And yeah, just throughout the day, I would just try to like reduce my neck movement. Like we went to a movie after like a week after, my neck still hurt, but having it, I had to like be looking down but up, like I had like to have because I couldn't have my head tilted back to look up at the screen because it started to like really feel like a pinching, and I was like, God damn it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get rid of those tickets for that tennis match. I definitely can't do that.
My doctor was like, no, absolutely not. All that back and forth will kill you. But it's the Grand Slam, Doc.
I have center court tickets.
But yeah, my tailbone still somehow, I mean, it's just being in my late 30s and the fact that I don't recover as fast is the only thing. But went out skating yesterday and it was, I feel better, but it's still like, yep, if I fall, it's going to just end me. I'll just lay here until I die.
Speaking of skating, one of your goals was to complete a 360 ocelot double banana split. What was it called?
So you nailed it. It was the 360 ocelot double banana split.
Yes. I'm pretty deep into the skating culture.
You can tell. You have all the lingo down, and it was effortless.
Yeah.
So it was a nose manual nollie 360 flip out. I have not accomplished this due to the multiple injuries that I have racked up that I haven't found. Like that trick requires a certain
je ne sais quoi.
There's like only a certain obstacle you can do that trick on, and I don't have that within skating distance from my house. And so if I am not able to skate to it, then I'm like, I'm not going there, because once I get hurt again, I'm not gonna hop in my car and like drive, because after I hurt my wrist, I think I would get in my car and drive, and the pain was so bad that I was like, I'm a danger to other people on the road right now.
Right.
Like I'm not focused.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like you didn't want to cry on the bus on the way home. You didn't want me to see you cry on the bus.
Oh, this is LA. Everybody's crying on the bus, so it's normal.
People think you're an undercover cop if you're not crying on the bus.
Yeah, if you're crying on the bus, it's just like, oh, what audition did you just bomb? Like, yeah, I know. It was inmate number 2, and I fucked it up.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't complete your
Nothing
flippy
but
dippy.
I got nothing but time. About
60s.
Yeah, the Ocelot double Diana split, of course.
Yes, we all know what it's called. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you haven't had that thrill of it.
I'm almost embarrassed by that. I mean, I'm happy that you have that on lock, and that you can just throw it down whenever. But it's one of those things that I should have had this by now. But yeah, that's I live in a part of LA that has there used to be a train yard across the river, which eventually I guess got knocked down sometime in the 80s. So there's a lot of open land over there, but it's not developed. It's just crusty, coyote ridden, and people go over there to shoot fireworks off. And
can I just say, I legit think your part of LA sounds great. You're by the river.
Oh.
You're by Coyote Place.
I love it. I love it.
It kind of sounds great.
Like, I am so fascinated by coyotes in general. Like, they are the coolest animal to me because they've just survived in cities when everything says they shouldn't. But I'll be walking my dog and we'll see them in the morning and he wants to play with them. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not with the coyotes. But in this open field expanse, skateboarders have built stuff in there. And I just happened to stumble upon like a DIY built out little skate obstacle thing that people had built. So I'm like, oh, great. This is right by my house.
Nice.
It's isolated. There's nobody ever over here. I'm going to be here very often. And so I might, since it is so isolated, I might die over there when I eventually get hurt again, because it's only going to happen again.
Right.
And my wife won't be able to find me.
And here's the great thing about dying over there is that you give your bodies to the coyotes.
Yes.
And that is eventually, I think if you get that similar kind of injury where you hit your head and you're laying on the ground for probably 5 to 10 minutes, the coyotes will just appear and tear you to pieces.
And I'll be so out of it that I'll think it's my dog and be like, come on, give me a kiss, buddy. And then it just rips my face off.
Right. But I mean, you got to feel like that's how I want to go. As I want to,
You want to be torn apart by dogs?
Well, maybe after death. If like some way after death I could be eaten by animals, I'd be really stoked about that. Or I don't know, pre-death, who knows? Depends on the day.
This is actually a little bit of like a point of contention in my marriage, is that I've told my wife, like, when I die, please just drop my body in the woods so like I can be eaten by animals. And she's like, no, absolutely not. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I'm going to make this happen. Like, let my body decompose somewhere and just be gone. So we'll see.
I have a similar thing where I'm a vegetarian now, but when I was a kid, I ate a lot of seafood. So I feel like I owe kind of a blood debt to like a lot of crabs. So I'm like, I just want to be like dropped in the ocean so crabs can eat me. And
I think, and what's wrong with that? I mean, coyote.
Let the boy be eaten by crabs.
On the coyote thing, there was an interesting, one morning, I'm walking my dog, as I do. We head up to this field that's kind of off the beaten path, up by a playground, and my dog's off leash. She's kind of like 30 feet away from me, just walking in the field. I hear a dog bark. I'm like, that didn't sound like my dog. And then I turn around and look, and a coyote is charging out of the woods at my dog, who's about 50 pounds, so he's not small. Okay. But my dog is so stupid that he thinks that this dog wants to play with him. So then my dog starts chasing the coyote around, and the coyote's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, I'm trying to kill you. And my dog is having the best time of his life. And I think the coyote was trying to chase my dog up into the woods where other coyotes were waiting for him, and it would have just been curtains for him. But I happened to bump into like a guy who I see him walking his dog, and I told him what happened. He's like, yep, my friend lost his Rottweiler that exact way. It's like, oh, they fucking killed a Rottweiler? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm sure you know this, but it's like, I've heard that about coyotes where they'll come across dogs and they're like, hey, let's play, and like lure them away from where they live, and just then they get eaten.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not a coyote.
You're groomed.
Yeah, no, you poor thing, you're not a wild animal.
But
you're shit too. You're not going to make it out there on your own. Well, I hope he doesn't get eaten by coyotes, but I hope you do. So.
Yes, thank you. This is what I want.
And as you're being dragged away by coyotes, you're yelling, this is what I want. Don't intervene. I want this.
Put those blow darts down. Do not take these coyotes. This is fine.
This is my choice. Read my living will. Oh, it was right here in his living will. Want to be eaten by coyotes.
Yeah. Hey,
In the event of brain dead.
it's a binding document. If he wasn't able to do his ocelot double Diana split, then he will get frustrated, and the coyotes will take him.
Yeah. So, Bill, what do you think the biggest change you've experienced over the last 6 months?
The biggest change, I think, would be probably taking the time for myself to work out, like do something that's not, like the jump roping thing is what I do for working out. And I never had anything like that. Like I would go skateboarding, which kept me in some sort of reasonable shape because it's a physical activity. But I've never had anything that's like, I do this as part of a routine. So carving in time to do that is probably the biggest change overall, and it's helped me with a live-work balance instead of just being like, I'm home, it's time to work all the time, you know? So, because working from home, I think you get stuck in that routine of, well, this is not only where I live, but it's also my office, so I guess I should work now.
When I used to work from home, it was basically like, I was just work all the time. Just like, there were occasional midday naps, but other than that, I was just like, it was just always working, and
I wonder how many people kind of realized that, like, I mean, going to an office sucks, and you always think like, oh, if I could work from home, it would be better. But then when you do work from home, you're like, oh, this sucks too. It turns out work just sucks, you know?
Just work is the problem.
Yeah, capitalism, man.
It turns out it doesn't matter where I am. This is all terrible. Yeah, I'm just like, work sucks. Which somebody pointed out to me is like, like work, like, raising a child is work. But like, what I mean is like doing pointless things in an office all day sucks.
Right.
Compared with, the idea of like nurturing a child and whatever.
You're not going to look back on the day and be like, oh man, I remember I was copying and collating one day, and I will always remember those days collating while at work.
I looked at the documents and I thought, this is what it's all about.
How did I get so lucky?
I know, right? But yeah, so that's good. And you feel like the jump roping is, like you said, you've lost a bunch of weight. Do you feel like your mental health is better, or your physical health, like all these things, like the just working out regularly, helping you out that way?
I'm when you look at these fitness people that are like working out will just make you feel it makes you feel better, even though you're putting yourself through hell, it feels like, but it does give you an endorphin thing. Like when there are days where I sit around and do nothing, I felt worse and more tired than when I go out and do an hour of exercise, and I have more energy throughout the day. Even after that, maybe my calves are a little bit sore, but for the most part, overall, I feel better. And I'd be an advocate for that. And it's made me I have the benefit of being able to work from home in the sense that I can set my own hours. And I realized how much of a privilege it is to be able to do that. Like when I worked in warehouses, I had to get up at 5:30 and I wasn't home until 6. There's no time where I was going to be able to do an hour of jump roping, because I would just going home to eat, and then I'm probably going to go to bed after that. So so just want to say to all the billionaires out there, hey, give up some of your fucking money, you pieces of shit, and let's have a more equitable society so people can live.
Right, exactly. I'm glad that you're getting such a positive effect. Like listening back to the first half of the interview, was there anything that surprised you listening back to yourself from 6 months ago?
I guess the most surprising thing is, so I had some goals about like more writing stuff, and I thought maybe I'd feel more frustrated that some of those things I didn't accomplish, but at the same time, I'm more than content just being like, all right, my output has been more than enough. I'm happy with the direction of my writing and quote unquote career in this way. So I'm not like bitter about like, oh, well, I never wrote that TV pilot. It's like, there's plenty of time. I'm not stressing about that, like if I had written something, it would be garbage anyway. So don't be hard on yourself because you didn't do that one thing. So I think that there's an old version of me that is oh, fuck this guy. You said you were going to do something. You didn't do it, asshole. So, but more jump rope endorphin Bill just says, it's cool, brother.
Hey, man, this is more time for some sweet roping. I don't need this writing gig.
Gotta get some skips in, man.
Hitting them skips. That's what you gotta do. That's nice. Yeah, well, that's good. I think that's a good attitude to have. I think a lot of us set goals for ourselves, especially like once the world shut down and we were all this unstructured time, and we were like, oh, we're gonna accomplish so many things. I don't know. I've certainly beat myself up about things I didn't accomplish that I said I that frankly I put on my vision board and didn't get around to. So yeah, but that's actually Tara made me write "I am enough" on a post-it note because I was beating myself up about stuff that I was like, I didn't do this and I didn't accomplish that.
Did you intentionally spell it wrong so you'll look at it and be like, I can't even spell it right. I'm such an idiot.
No, I'm trying to keep myself from a spiral here, man. Like, I was like, if this helps, I'll do it. I don't care. I'm not enough, but whatever. The post-it note says it. Stupid. Anyways, yeah. Well, that's great. That's a good attitude to have. Now, Jump Rope Bill is Bill Jump Rope Conway.
That's right. I've already petitioned the courts to legally change my name to that. Much like Marvin Hagler, the boxer, changed his name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler, so people had to call him Marvelous. But I will be Bill Jump Rope Conway.
Yeah, that must have been a tough discussion with your wife where it's like, look, honey, I already put in the paperwork for you, too. So you're also Jump Rope. You're now Mrs. Jump Rope. Isn't that great?
It's beautiful. Yeah, she supports it. And yeah, she also said she's filing other paperwork, something, divorce or something like that. I was like, what? I wasn't
French term. I don't speak French.
I barely listen to what she has to say.
Yeah. Now I do really think I might look into getting a jump rope and seeing if I can get into roping. It does seem like it might be just the speed for me right now, having gained like 100 pounds over the quarantine period.
It's low impact and you can just go at your own pace. And yeah, I can't say enough about it. I've had a couple of friends that have tried and I think they've gotten frustrated with it, quit on it because it takes a minute to get the coordination down. But once you do, you're in a better place.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. So is there anything you wish you'd known 6 months ago that you know now?
I guess I wish I would have bought tickets for flights at cheaper rates, like early on, like in January. I wish I'd been like, well, I know that the lockdowns and I'll be vaccinated by then, so I'll buy my trip to New York to visit friends now when tickets are $8 to fly as opposed to, 6 months from now when the demand for flights is coming back. So maybe that's about it, is trying to figure out how to get the best deals. I'm always wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. Well, that's what people say about you.
Yes.
Wheeling, dealing, Bill, Jump Rope, Conway.
Yeah. The courts hate me for all the paperwork I've been doing, modifying my name.
The name change office, they're like, it's Bill again, but is it this time, Bill?
Wait till you guys hear the third part of my nickname. I'm going to reveal that soon enough.
So you're planning on traveling soon, getting out to visit friends?
Just had some friends move to New York from Portland. They settled in. They got a place right by where John Lennon was killed. So we'll.
That's an expensive place.
Yeah, I was when they said where they were living in New York. I was like, really? I didn't think I'd ever have any friends that could live in that part of town, but they're making it work. And I'll just go see where. Was it John Hinckley that did that one? Yeah. So we'll see.
No, wait, no. Is that the guy who shot Reagan?
Yeah, it might have been. I always confuse these two guys. When an assassination. Let's see. I know it had to do with Catcher in the Rye.
I think it was Paul McCartney.
It was, yes.
Okay.
Man, let's see. Mark David Chapman. That's who, of course.
I knew it wasn't Hinckley because successful assassins, you get to know all three names.
Right. Yeah. So I'll go see where he was shot. I'll read my copy of Catcher in the Rye in the same spot. And then we'll just have the police monitor me for a while after that.
That's also where they shot Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, same apartment building. Well, that sounds nice. Yeah, getting out and traveling. So that brings me to my next and final question. What is next for you, Bill?
What's next, I guess, is the figuring out. You got the one stand-up comedy show booked, so that will be the big decider. Will the bug rebite me, or will I be putting calamine lotion on that bad boy? And just, I think that's really it. I've got so many other things going on. Is stand-up still gonna be that thing that I like doing? We will find out soon. I haven't hit any open mics or anything because they're still all like virtual, and it's like I'm not doing that. But so I think it's all comes back to stand up. What started it all.
Coming full circle, or maybe moving on. Maybe you have emerged from the chrysalis of stand-up into a new jump roping online mogul.
Who knows? I'm going to start selling some like tea that settles your stomach or something like that, and then it's going to be a whole new revenue stream.
Is it like a post-jump roping tea because the jumping up and down can upset your stomach?
Totally fucks up your gastrointestinal tract. The body isn't meant to jump that much.
But it feels so good. My body wants it so bad. It wants those jumps.
Yeah. Needs them, craves them.
Humping for the jumps is what they say.
Yeah. Oh, so you already know all the jump rope lingo. So I
Yeah,
don't-
I know it all.
Skateboard lingo,
I'm
jump rope
pretty
lingo.
as steeped in the jump rope lingo as I am in the skateboarding lingo.
Yeah.
Perhaps even more.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're a Renaissance man, and there's nowhere else to put that.
That is true. That's always been my goal in life.
Yeah.
Renaissance man. So, Bill, thanks so much again for talking to us again. Is there anywhere that people can find your work, where you can be found online? I'm sure there's a number of places.
Yeah, there's always thehardtimes.net. It's the Hard Times News on Instagram. That's anybody that looks at thehardtimes.net. That's what keeps me to be able to afford luxury jump ropes that are lined with rubies and diamonds. Then my personal stuff is all at I Hate Bill Conway. It's on my personal Instagram. The Hard Times podcast is weekly. The Vert Button podcast is monthly for old skateboard video rewatches, breaking down kickflips and backside 180s at a nerdy rate that has never been before seen in podcasting. Vert Button is the place to go for that. So yeah,
Exciting.
and find me at the Frogtown Skate Park in the mornings, getting in the way of early morning skateboarders with my jump roping.
Yeah, and check for his corpse around the LA River.
Yeah,
just in
exactly.
case.
Exactly.
But if he is being eaten by coyotes, please let nature take its course.
Do not scare the coyotes away, please.
Yes. Can someone please add this to his Wikipedia page? Bill Conway wants to be eaten by coyotes.
Yeah.
So, but thanks so much, Bill. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Take care, man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's fork, spoon, knife.
Fork, spoon, knife. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Is it? I feel like that makes total sense. I feel like I want the spoon in the middle,
No.
and then flanked by the knife, because I feel like the spoons are the things I'm using the most, and then the forks, and then the knife.
Knives, I believe it is.
Knives.
Knives.
I
don't know. Maybe it's different
knives.
in America.
No, it's knives. I'm just saying it weird. But no, because it was spoon, knife, fork, and now it's fork, spoon, knife, and I think that allows me to sleep at night. So I'm good.
I mean, look, I've never really cared about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it should be fork, knife, spoon, just because that's the order that you lay them in, like on the table. If you ignore the plate, right, and you look from left to right, it's fork on the left, and then on the right you've got the knife, and then next to the knife, on the right hand side of the knife, you've got the spoon.
Yeah.
So that's just my thinking. But you know, I don't. To be honest, I don't really think it matters, nor do I think anyone should really care.
Number one, Tara, it does matter. I feel like I've made it very clear that it matters, and it's a bit hurtful that you're so dismissive of things that matter to me.
I'm sorry. You know what? Look, if it matters to you and it's made you happy, I'm happy.
That doesn't make me happy, but I don't know.
It
just
doesn't make me happy, but it makes me less miserable. So
yeah, I think it's like anxiety went from 99% to 98.5%, and so
that's an improvement, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's good.
So have you heard anything back about your screenplay, The Wizard Palace?
I feel like it was called something else. Definitely not the
That's the
Wizard
name
Palace.
I gave it, and I thought maybe you'd suggest that
I
too.
literally can't remember what we called it. Did we call it like the Crystal Palace or something? I feel like
Crystal Palace is a neighborhood in London.
yes, I'm aware of that, but I almost feel like that's what we called it. Regardless, whatever it's called, I've forgotten now. It's clearly a phenomenal screenplay. I've not heard back about it. I did sign away most of my rights to it, but you know, hopefully it gets made. Hopefully it goes well.
You might get
Nothing from
20%
that.
for doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And then not heard anything back about the song either. I think that's just one of the things, though, isn't it, with the industry, is that I say with the industry, with, you know, generally creative industries.
Yeah.
There's always something going on. You know, there's always something in the pipeline or someone's doing something. And a lot of the time I feel like it comes to nothing, but sometimes it comes to something. So I don't know. I'm happy to just keep on putting little creative projects out there. I never really put too much like weight into it. I never sort of worry about it. I'm not like stressing out about whether it's going to work or not. It's more just like, is it bringing me pleasure to do it? And if it is, I'll keep doing it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, you know, it's like the lottery. You got to be in it to win it, right? And
yeah.
I don't know. So, but it's also very unlikely to win it anyway. But you never know.
I mean, I've been doing some of my little videos again recently, and that's been fun. It's been a really nice outlet to do that again. I'd not really done it for months, and that's been really nice. And some of those have been picking up, and you know, it's just fun, isn't it? When you can just do something creatively.
Yeah.
When you're feeling inspired, and you know, sometimes it goes away and then it comes back again. So anyway, what about you? Have you got any creative projects on the go, or are you just super flat out with the? I mean, obviously your podcasts are creative projects.
Oh, my broadcast's pretty creative, but I guess yeah, I haven't done anything particularly creative right now. I made like some planters out of old pallets.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's cool.
That was a project I did with my dad the other day.
Hey, how's it? Are your parents still there?
Yeah, they're here till the end of the month.
How's it going?
Well, yeah, they just got out of quarantine on Monday, so we're good to go.
Hey, how was quarantine?
That was fine. It's fine for us. For them, it kind of sucked because they couldn't leave our house. But Allison, Tavish, and I, we can just leave the house whenever we want. So.
Oh, are you allowed to leave the house if you're with people that are quarantining?
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
I guess the idea is that because they take a test at 2 days and 8 days, and if they were sick on the 2-day or the 8-day test, then we would self-isolate. But if they're not sick, then they haven't been here long enough for us to get sick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of. I think that's kind of how it worked. Anyways, but then we took a 5-day test so they could get out of quarantine early. So is Australia still the 2-week quarantine?
Yeah. You gotta go straight to the hotel rooms, and you can't leave the hotel for 2 weeks.
I do not envy you that.
No, I don't envy myself that.
I maybe by October it'll be better.
Nah, I don't think so. But anyway, you know, it'll be fine. I think hopefully by then I'm a much more zen person. That's what I'm hoping for.
There you go. Yeah, I think it'll be great. Your kids will be that much older, and they'll be so mature, and
yeah, they'll be so mature. Like Sam will be like 2.5 by then. So you know.
Yeah, basically like an adult. So the other big thing that happened 6 months ago was the raid on the Capitol.
Oh yeah,
which sucked.
I'm so upset. I can't believe that was crazy, wasn't it? That was very much like, oh, is this end times?
It still feels like end times.
Yeah.
Is this end times has been pretty much my attitude since like the mid '90s. It feels like. But yeah, that it was funny because we were like, oh, maybe this will change everything, or maybe it'll just be a blip of just like random stuff, and it kind of fell in the middle where like a lot of people were like, this is incredibly serious and we need to do something about this, and then like half of the political spectrum was like, nah, it's fine, man, just some good old boys having a good old time. And it's just like, I don't know, it just became like this whole like everybody saw the same thing, and then it was like everybody's perception of it was skewed, and it was very annoying.
It definitely feels like it has become less. It's just like, oh yeah, that time they stormed the Capitol, like that, as if that's not the craziest thing you've ever heard. It's just like, oh yeah, right. That time. And I just remember that woman who was being interviewed on the news afterwards, and she was like, they maced me. And she was like crying and stuff, and it's just like, you stormed the Capitol, like what do you expect? What do you want? Like what the hell?
You're lucky they didn't murder you all. You like
it was just crazy. Like it was like do you expect them to just be like, well, come on in, guys? Like it was just
they kind of were. But yeah, I mean, it's like you do know that if you weren't white, you'd all be dead now, right? Like,
oh my gosh, that is a really awful truth, isn't it? Like that is the reality that is like horrific.
Pretty much, yeah. But some of those people have been arrested. I feel like they still arrest people all the time, because it was basically they basically came out and said like, look, if you had a phone and when you raided the Capitol, we know you were there and we'll come and get you eventually. Like,
oh wow.
And so they have arrested a bunch of people, which is great. But now the right is treating them like they're political prisoners, and it's like, no, they're assholes who vandalized the national Capitol. Like, what do you want? What do you want here? I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, because it's very different to like a peaceful protest in a street or something. You know, it's just Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, the craziest thing is not the raid. It's the craziest thing is that half of Congress, all the Republicans in Congress, have voted not to actually investigate what happened during like the groups that led up to it and the organization behind it and how they were able to get into the Capitol. Like half the people that were in the Capitol that day and who were potentially going to be murdered by the crowd if they had gotten what they wanted, they don't want to investigate this. And I'm just like, I don't know. Anyway, so I hate it.
That's crazy. Is there anything else exciting happening in your life since then, or anything that happened that you weren't expecting in the last 6 months?
I don't know. Yeah, things have been pretty even keeled. Still hanging out with Tavish. That's fun-ish. Actually, I was thinking today that I was talking about how I had gone back to work for a day and then they sent everybody home to work from home, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to have a job. And I was thinking about how I couldn't believe leave. Like I was thinking about, like, if I still had that job, I'd still be working. I've been working this 6 months, and that would have been awful. I would have hated it. And how nice it's been to be home and like with Alice and Tavish and being able to spend this time with them, and how great that is, and how it was so much better than that stupid job.
Aw,
So
that's beautiful. That's a really beautiful reflection.
yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, I just kind of had that thought today. I was like, I can't imagine having been at work for this period, just like wasting my time in an office at a job I didn't care for, as opposed to like, I don't know, spending time with my baby and
Aw,
my wife and stuff. So yeah,
that's
it's
so
really nice.
sweet. That's beautiful.
Anyways,
Well, that
But
makes me feel really happy, actually. I'm really thrilled to hear that. It's a really positive way to end this episode, especially with all those bits that I'd forgotten of, like, news and stuff. Yeah.
do you have anything that like?
I don't know. I don't have anything. I've just been very busy, and I think I feel a bit stressed at the moment. We're going camping tomorrow, and I feel really grateful. I feel like I've just got to switch off for a bit, like switch my phone off, literally just be with my beautiful boys and my beautiful husband, because...
That's beautiful.
Thanks, Matt. Just because, I don't know, I just feel like I just work pretty much non-stop at the moment, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of feel like I'm in the exact opposite place that you are right this second, where you're like reflecting, be like, it's just been so lovely to have this bullet. I'm like, that's what I need. So yeah, I am going to make a real effort over the next few days camping to just be at one with nature and enjoy spending time with my family.
That's nice. Where are you going camping?
West Wittering Beach. Yeah, it's just a nice beach, and there's a nice sort of
sounds
camping thing, and we're just going to bring our tent, and
Beach camping. Are you camping like by the beach?
it's
Or,
near
like,
near the beach in a field. It's not like literally on the beach.
Either way.
But it'll be
Yeah,
nice
actually, that
to-
sounds terrible to camp on the beach. So much sand in the tent.
Yeah, and wind.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for listening, everybody, and thanks, Matt, for being here and for all that you are. And
Tara. Yeah, if you could please rate, review, subscribe wherever you get this. And if you would tell a friend, you know what? You know who loves graffiti is Will. Tara's husband, Will, loves graffiti. So if you could write some graffiti that just says, go listen to 6 months later in a public place. The more public, the better. Doesn't have to be elaborate. Can just be like a marker on a bathroom wall, but send us a picture of that. Will loves graffiti. You know, if you can put it on a train, the side of a train, that'd be great, because it's getting to a lot of people, a lot of eyes in front of that.
I feel like definitely don't do that, because you'll probably go to jail or something. But
No, yeah, we're saying don't do that, but then we're also, Tara was winking.
I
So
was
those
not
might have
winking.
been unrelated things.
I'm not endorsing this in any way. This
don't-
podcast does not endorse this.
We don't endorse it. It's just a thought we're putting out there. Nobody has to act on it. But if you do, it would be really cool. And you'd be a really cool person. I think that's the kind of thing a really cool person would do.
Yeah, particularly if you're Banksy, then maybe
Oh, yeah.
put some kind of cool like love heart with something like 6 months later and like a girl floating or something. That'd be really cool. Like something.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thanks.
If we could use this platform to commission Banksy to make a mural for our podcast,
Yeah.
that would be great.
That'd be epic.
That,
Thanks,
that'd
Banksy.
be amazing.
That'd be
What an
super,
amazing
super
prank,
cool.
Banksy. That would be. But yeah, and if you want to follow us, we're 6 months later pod on all the things. You can send us an email directly, 6monthslaterpod@gmail.com. Send us your graffiti photos. And Tara, if people want to find you online, where can they do that?
You can find me. My new social media handle is tara.the.ham on TikTok and Instagram. Tara the Ham. That's me, and I'm doing lots of hammy stuff up there. So feel free to check me out. Matt, where can people find you?
I'm on Short on some of the things. You can follow me on Instagram. I put up a picture of a really cool bunch of planners I made out of pallets this week. So that was the most creative thing I did this week. And then also I make other media. You can check out my podcast, Saint Misbehavin', which is a really fun podcast where my friend Anna and I talk about the lives of saints and their insane stories, which is always fun. It's a lighthearted look at theology. Yeah. Anyways, but thanks everybody again for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
In 6 months. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I wish you would become like the jump rope stand up.
How would that even work? Because I would hit the mic stand. You know, I'd have to have like a headset. Yeah.
A wireless. Yeah, you have a headset.
You know, it might happen. I have to tell the clubs, like, I can't do low ceilings. They have to be vaulted ceilings. And clear the front row. We're going to move the tables out of the way. So it will be a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But I think people, once they see the act, there's no way they can deny it.
Right. It's like I'm not part of this culture, but like this jokes are just so solid that you can't help but like really laugh at them. Like so good. You know, I want you to be real prima donna about it too. It's like, what's up with this ceiling height? Huh? I told you 15 feet or higher. This is bullshit.